the idea is to develop discipline in writing answers, especially focusing on ethics. Why? A beautiful flow in your answer will ensure, with examples, will ensure that you get good topics. Make sure all these points are added to your notes, examples. If something relating to international aid is asked, you can recycle this information. For example, the food aid that is being provided by some nations can disrupt the local agrarian economy. Hello everyone, welcome to Mentors for IAS. This is Ethics at 8, where we discuss important concepts and previous year questions relating to ethics paper. Hi, I'm Dr. Arjun Bopanna from Mentors for IAS. Okay, so let's see today's question. So today's question reads like this. International aid is an accepted form of helping resource-challenged nation. International aid is the accepted form of helping resource-challenged nation. Comment on the ethics in contemporary international aid. Support with example. As we discussed in the previous video also, as I told you, always, there is a tendency for the examiner to ask your answer to be supported with example. So here too, they're asking you to support your answer with example. So the statement is made that international aid is now accepted way to help another country which is in distress, which is in need, which needs help. Okay, so you have to write from an ethics point of view. From an ethics point of view, the question is comment. So therefore, you need to argue from both point of view. That means how it is ethical to help other nations, okay, through providing aid. But there are few challenges with this also, meaning it could be unethical if the objective, the root, or the purpose for which these aids are given. So both has to be written, and since it's a comment question, you will also have to write as to how to address these challenges. Okay, so that is what is expected from this particular question. This too was asked in last year, 2023 UPSC paper. So, right, so you write about international aid, the source, the context, the purpose of it in the introduction. And then you can write about the positive outcome. Again, it's not a general studies paper. Make sure you write from an ethical point of view. See, when we say write from an ethical point of view, how international aid promotes ethical values, like, it ensures justice. For example, historically, we have seen that certain nations are disadvantaged. Resource-wise, certain nations are disadvantaged. Like if you take island nations. So they face challenges because of its geographical, geographical makeup. They have lack of resources. Now, if we ensure that aid is provided to them, we can ensure that in the world, globally, there is justice. That is, those who have sharing their resources with those who don't have will ensure justice, will ensure equality, will ensure peace. These are the core values that is being upheld by international aid agencies or aid policies, etc. So that is the ethics point of view, what we have to write. Now it can serve economic purpose, it can serve social purpose, it can serve, immediate crisis situation, it can be used. But we need to bring out the ethics in those transactions, in those conduct. That's what is essence of this particular question. And at the same time, misuse, okay, unethical nature of aid agencies, aid organization, company, countries, etc. In all of that, you can give examples. And then finally, opinion. In that conclusion, where you write the measures that is needed to check the misuse, unethical nature of aid, international aid. So that's how you can structure your answer. A beautiful flow in your answer will ensure, with examples, will ensure that you get good marks. Okay, so pause the video, take about 7 to 8 minutes to write the answer for this particular question, after which we shall discuss and you can compare your answer. Okay, I hope all of you have written the answer. Now, let's see what you need to write or some content relating to that, and then you can compare your answer. Some examples I will give you. Make sure you write that in your ethics notes. Right. So over here, the introduction you can write that how these international aid fosters, ensures ethics and how it is useful to promote or preserve moral values globally, right? So it promotes justice, international aid fosters a sense of global community, it ensures a shared responsibility to address common challenges, ultimately it upholds humanity, right? So therefore, international aid for time immemorial have always been considered as being ethical. Now, you write about how it can bring about positive change in countries, in globally, etc. So obviously, one of the important times that international aid is given by organization, by nations, by individuals, make sure you add those dimensions also, because international aid is not just by another nation. It can be by NGOs, voluntary organization, multilateral, bilateral. It can also be philanthropic aid that is given by individuals from one nation to members of another nation. Okay, so like that, after that introduction, you will write how this is accepted as a good conduct by another nation. Humanitarian relief, like during the crisis situation where we have seen like disasters like earthquakes or flood or tsunami or COVID recently, all of that has shown that how aid agencies can ensure that those nations which are in distress, people of those nations who are in distress are provided aid or provided help to help them address the challenges that they are facing. Similarly, one of the important reason why aid is given is to address poverty. Socio-economic development can be provided through aid because there is inequality presently globally with respect to nations and how they are able to provide services to their citizens. So when there is inequality in this, aid can help in addressing this inequality and ensure justice. This in turn would help humanity as a whole. You bring out all of that, socio-economic development, promotion of health by providing fund for vaccination or provide healthcare infrastructure to promote education. For all of this, justify your answers with examples. It also ensures political stability because, as you know, that financial crisis, now what is happening in Kenya or any other, African nations or South America, etc. So where we have seen that economic distress or can lead to political instability, which in turn can lead to various unethical social circumstances. So by providing aid, support government reform, governance reforms and reducing risk of conflict, etc., we can ensure political stability of nation. This as a whole will ensure peace, and there is nothing more valuable than peace in this world, right? Global security, etc. Also ensuring that we are sustainable so that the next generation is also having the same facilities or resources as what we are enjoying today. So that is also being ethical, not just for the present, but for the future. Ethical environmental protection, like against climate change, the global warming, etc. Also to promote international solidarity. Humanity as a whole, global community as a whole can be ensured through international aid. Okay, you give various examples here, the list of examples. Don't just focus on bilateral or multilateral aid support, but also aid provided by multinational organizations, voluntary organizations, individuals who have supported these kind of work. Some examples: India, global, all a mix of them has to be provided. Nepal earthquake mein how India supported, COVID pandemic mein how India provided vaccine to the third world nation, tsunami mein we were one of the first ones to help our neighboring nations. Then internationally, various aid agencies, Red Cross, etc., are providing fund to fight AIDS, tuberculosis, malaria. Marshall Plan, like if you talk about from a historical point of view, also Marshall Plan that came that US developed after World War II helped economy of Europe. It helped them to rebuild the war-torn economy, which promoted peace and stability. And today, we can credit, we can see the outcome of all of this, where a nation is able to provide for its citizens. Now that is being ethical. Okay, India and its neighborhood policy and how we have supported them at the time of crisis, inflation, may we have provided support, etc. World Bank, IMF, UN organizations that have been providing support to various nations, Red Cross, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundations, etc. So all of these are examples that you can add to your answer. Now, since it's a comment question, you'll have to write the other dimensions also. That means how, certain nations, certain organizations have misused the aid for unethical reasons, or they have used unethical route to, both means as well the end determines the total ethics of this particular, idea. If it is done for political manipulation, okay, in order to try to manipulate the global diplomacy, like what happened during Cold War time, etc. Dependency syndrome is created if the aid is not used or implemented effectively. So the recipient nation ends up being dependent on the recipient, and this undermines the local initiative. So we need to ensure that the kind of aid is provided helps strengthen the local community. Sometimes corruption, mismanagement can occur with respect to the aid that is received by the nation. It can disrupt the economy. For example, the food aid that is being provided by some nations can disrupt the local agrarian economy. Sometimes these aid comes with conditionality, violating the independence of or sovereignty, which is unethical. It promotes, or it is used for neo-colonialism as a disguise to take control of another nation's resources. It may undermine local institution. Most of these aid agencies are focusing on short-term without looking at the long-term impact of it. These aid agencies may be done to avoid paying taxes or some other activities. Therefore, it may suffer from lack of accountability. In that case, it becomes unethical. So both ideas need to be taken into account. So some examples are over here, like how in Cold War, post-Cold War, aid were provided in order to get countries towards their ideological bloc. LPG reforms in India, how aid was provided but with conditions. Similarly, we see IMF providing aid to various nations today but with conditions. African countries have been are dependent on these aid. This has led to a lot of political and economic crisis in these nations. IMF and World Bank structural adjustment programs, which comes with conditional loans. This has affected the independence and sovereignty of those nations. Similarly, French aid agencies, organizations have also been criticized as being unethical because using these aids, they have tried to impose their ideas in the form of neo-colonialism. So all these are unethical. So in your conclusion, towards the end, you can dedicate a paragraph to say how you can ensure that through transparency, through ethical planning and implementation, etc., we can ensure that these challenges are addressed. One has to think long term. One has to be ethical in planning these aids, etc. Something like that can be used to conclude your answer. So this is how you're supposed to, or this is the content that you need to write for this particular topic. Make sure all these points are added to your notes, examples. If something relating to international aid is asked, you can recycle this information. I hope this was useful. We'll come up with another question in the next video. Thank you for watching.